Hello and welcome back to Talkwell Counselling Bite-Sized Therapy. Today is a special day because I'm going to change tempo, if you'd like. So far my videos have all been kind of face-to-face videos on a range of topics, but from next week onwards, or this Friday should we say, from tomorrow onwards, I'll be looking at releasing more bite-sized therapy videos, but more aimed at the teenage market, simply because it's important to get children early. So if you can catch mental health issues early on, so children, young people and teenagers, those are the types of areas that I'd like to target next. As you know, I've completed several videos for adults only that I've done since October. And each of those videos are listed in the link below. So for those who haven't seen me before, my name is Cam, welcome. I'm a qualified family mediator, social worker and psychotherapist. So I've covered a range of topics so far in terms of adult mental health issues and how to cope better, and some skills and techniques. But as I mentioned, I'd like to work with the younger market in terms of catching issues early, offering support through cartoon animated figures. So the adult videos have always been, as I am now, speaking directly to you using the camera. The animated videos will be very much cartoon based, telling a story and working through a solution, and they'll be very short, like animated shorts if you like, just so that I'm able to reach the harder to reach community of young people, often who are developing mental health issues quite young and not able to cope. So that's where my kind of attention is at the moment, because as I mentioned, it's working my way through and trying to reach the masses using the most accessible techniques possible, and I believe that young people would relate better to cartoony type videos, animated shorts on different topics. So that's what we've got to look forward to from now on. For history, historic videos are all listed in my playlist, so if there's anything you want to look back on, feel free. But if you've got any young people in your family, any teenagers that you know are having problems, anybody at school that you know would be benefit, parents and young people can watch these short cartoon videos because they'll relate to all. But effectively it's offering guidance for young people and raising awareness around mental health, but for young people and teenagers. So that's the aim. But for today, just wanted to set the scene for my future videos. So before I end my face-to-face little videos with yourselves as adults, I wanted to offer you a few tips for coping in terms of therapeutic techniques. There is it's called emotional freedom technique, and it involves tapping. So you've got your two fingers here against your thumb, just there, so something like that. Can you see that? Or from this angle like that. That technique, it just helps you to calm down if you're anxious. It's used to kind of instill positive affirmations, so you could tap and say things out loud to yourself. So if you're in a situation where you're anxious or you're upset or something's triggered you in any way, you can learn this technique as a way of coping. So it would be, I'm okay, I'm calm, things will be fine. So it's something along those lines where you're able to repeat positive affirmations, but you're tapping at the same time. What that does is reinforces the positive affirmations, so you're doing it physically, so there's a soothing feel to it. You're tapping and you're saying it out loud, so there's a feedback loop, because you're saying it and then you're hearing it and it goes into your mind, and then you can then feel holistically better and then act on it as well. So only for positive stuff, so you're tapping in any positive statements about yourself, even if you're struggling at the time, saying, I will get through this, I will be okay, things will improve, and you know, whatever you need to say to yourself in that moment to ground yourself. So that's a good grounding technique. As I mentioned on previous videos, you've got deep colour breathing. So when you breathe in through your nose for a count of 5, your favourite colour. So say your favourite colour was blue. So you breathe in for a count of 5, imagining blue air, clean blue air. And then out through the mouth with your worst colour. So say you didn't like yellow very much. So out your mouth, you'd breathe for 7 seconds. Some yellow toxic air that's, you know, all your anger, all your frustration, whatever it is that's stuck inside you, just coming out. And this is deep breathing, so in for 5 with your favourite colour through your nose, out for 7 with your least favourite colour out your mouth, and that's you're almost visualising the energy, exchange of energy, of good energy going in, bad energy coming out. And that will help you to calm down as well, because the energy, the oxygen gets to your brain and it naturally calms you down. So that's another technique. In terms of the line of control, that's one I've spoken about in previous videos. I thought I'd just condense everything into one short video today around coping tools, is the line of control. So that's about imagining a blank sheet of white paper. You take a Sharpie marker, black Sharpie marker pen, and you draw a line right across the middle, so you've got a top and a bottom. And the top half, you would write what's in your control, and the bottom half is what's not in your control. And you can apply this to any of your area of your life. So as an example, let's say one of your a family member was diagnosed with a serious or terminal illness. That's not in your control, so that will sit below the line. So if anything sits below the line and you can't control it, try not to over-analyse the matter and work yourself up to a point where you're unhappy and you've taken away your own sanity or peace, because you're winding yourself up over a matter that you can't control. So there's a radical acceptance that you need to have about that fact. However, what's above the line in, say, that same scenario, a terminal illness in a family member, you can be proactive in learning about the diagnosis, offering support, visiting, just being present with the person, and so it's making it bearable. So educating yourself about the condition and being supportive and present for that person. That is what is in your control. So that you can do. So do whatever is in your power to help manage a situation so that it makes your own anxiety or your own fear or uncertainty lessen, so you're less anxious and less upset, or less, more in control of the situation, if you like. So the line of control is very important, and it's equally important to know in any given situation what is in your control and what's not in your control. If the matter is not in your control, you'll be fighting against the tide. You cannot control it, and therefore you will only be upsetting yourself trying to manage something that's not in your control anyway. A classic example of people getting frustrated is when you're trying to control another person. You have no control over another person. You have influence but not control. So if you try to control that other person and they're not changing, they won't change because it's below the bottom, it's below the line. It's not for you to control them. They control them. You control yourself. So think about what you can do in reaction and response to the other person. If they have a habit of upsetting you by saying certain things, what can you do about that? You can't stop them from saying it, that sits below the line. But you can be proactive as a state to them, I don't like it when this happens because this is how you make me feel when you say those things, or I feel upset when you say those things. That is in your control. So use what is in your control and what is in your power to manage any given situation, and know the difference between what is and what isn't. That's the power of kind of knowing and being okay with life, because certain things will bug us but we can't do anything about it. Then you radically accept and you work with it. So that's another tool and technique. Another one I can mention is the mental filter. So it's like a funnel. So imagine when you put oil in a car, you have that little triangle filter thing that's big funnel, and then you get the little bit at the bottom that the oil leaks through. So that's, imagine your brain with a funnel in it. So you've got this triangle funnel in your brain, and it's got a feed that goes straight in. Now the mental filter funnel I like to call the positive and the negative. So if you've got the funnel, just imagine there's a line drawn halfway through, and then that line carries on through. So there's a right and a left side of this funnel, and you've separated it. If there's anything positive that somebody's saying to you, and your own thoughts and the positive, they can quite happily sit in the positive side and then come into your brain, and you can allow it inside your thought process because it's healthy, it's helpful to you. If there's anything negative, whether it's from internal or external forces, so if somebody says something horrible to you, filter it out, put it in the negative side of the funnel and flush it out. Don't let that enter your heart, into your brain, enter your being, because it's harmful for you. So it's learning to filter or gatekeep what people say to you and what you think in your own mind, because sometimes it's not other people, it's our own thoughts that are our own worst enemies, that inner critic. So learn to filter out negative thoughts and allow in positive thoughts, because the more you filter the negative thoughts, the more space there is created to put in more positive ingredients, more positive thoughts, so that you're able to stay and cope a little bit better with life. So that's kind of another technique I wanted to share with you. But I really enjoyed doing these videos, and the target audience to date has been the adult market. So as I mentioned before, I will be moving on to working with young people and teenagers to offer bite-sized videos in animated segments. It will be released every Friday as I've continued to do so since I've started the channel. But I just wanted to thank you for joining me on this journey. If you've been an adult watching, continue watching by all means. There's no reason why you need to tune out. Continue to subscribe, like, share. There is a link for that at the bottom along with the playlist. I'm sure there's people you know would continue to benefit from watching the videos and on the cartoon topics that I'm covering next. So I hope you do stay with me and share the links so that other people, young people, teenagers can watch and benefit as well. In the meantime, talk well to one another, take care of each other and look after each other's hearts and minds. Bye bye.